It's time for Season 14. Season 13 ended somewhat disappointingly, but was also very successful as we got to a Champions League quarter-final, losing against AC Milan. We are hoping to go probably just as far this season. One bit of bad news, however, is we are going to be the only Latvian representative in Europe this season, because Riga have got knocked out of the Europa Conference League, so have a couple of other teams. I think Spartak's possibly one of them, maybe Valmiera another one. So yeah, this season, it's all on us. As always, we will start with transfer business, and as you can see by the amount of money spent and brought in, we've not had a particularly big transfer window, but we have brought one very, very good player in the shape of David Markovic. Leaving the club, you can see Rodrigo Castelo has left, going back to Portugal, signing for Sporting. We've also lost Nilo to Chapo, whatever they're called, this team. I can't remember their name. He's gone there, basically gone back to Brazil, wasn't getting games for us. A couple of players going to Riga on permanent deals. Actually, 4 players going to Riga on permanent deals. And then we have a huge, huge list of loan players. Probably some of the big names going at Lathuli, Perkons, Carnell, Rolando Williams, Richard Simmons, we'll come to him in a minute. Junior going to Riga. Kristaps Stefanhagens going to Riga. Mordatenko going to Riga. Jesus Puig, another player who we signed in the summer, going to Riga. Robert Sitz going to Riga. Quite a few big names going out on loan, which is going to be good for them and hopefully good for Latvian football in general. Also, this summer was the summer where we lost quite a lot of our long-standing players, and I genuinely don't know if any of them have any clubs. Melkimians has left. He's moved over to America to sign for Nashville. Fair enough. Maris Mikulov has moved over to Germany to sign for VfB Stuttgart. This is not ideal. I wanted them to go to Latvian sides. Sergej's Kauner has followed Melkimians over to the States, signing for Atlanta United. Ruben Rivera has stayed in Latvia. This is good. He spent like 4 seasons out on loan at Riga, and now he's signed on a permanent deal. That is one bit of good news. And so has Sergej's Kapustins. Also a very, very good bit of news there. Hopefully he can do a job playing for Riga. Couple of other players as well. Furtov seems to have signed for a Latvian side. He's also gone to a Latvian team. That's good. I wanted to sell him pretty much when I signed him because he didn't get a club, and now he's finally gone and got himself a club, and he's let in 8 in 4 games, which isn't ideal. Also, this man going to Latvia, and Serbin's also going to Latvia. So quite a few players have gone to Latvia, which is good. Unfortunately, the 3 that we kind of wanted to stay in Latvia haven't. Joining the club then, we have signed 2 players on free transfers and immediately loaned them both out to Riga. Jesus Puig is the first one, signed from Barcelona, the team that we beat 5-0 last season. And yeah, he's gone over to Riga, which is hopefully going to get him some football. I think he's going to be a very good player for Riga for at least a season or 2. Ideally, I want to loan him out for another year. And Richard Simmons is a player who we signed from Chelsea and immediately loaned him back to an English side. Wanted to loan him out to a Latvian side as always, but no Latvian team wanted him. He's going to get a season hopefully playing for Watford. Next up is a young central defender called Mikolo Shapoval, who is a Portuguese and Ukrainian centre-back signed from Benfica. He's not cost us a huge amount of money, £775,000, which is weird considering we've spent more than what he's supposed to maximum cost. Fair enough. Anyway, Shapoval is going to be a very good player, I hope, for us in a few years' time, but basically, he's probably going to be sat on the bench, maybe playing a lot of under-23s football. And finally, 19-year-old Serbian central defender David Markovic, who is a Wonderkid, and I brought him in because at some point we are going to lose Benavides and Toussaint Yao. It still hasn't happened. I still keep managing to convince them to stay at the club. David Markovic is here. I was expecting him to maybe be sat on the bench if we kept Yao and Benavides. It means Toussaint Yao's probably going to be a right back. The squad then for the season is quite trimmed down. I intentionally tried to trim down the squad very, very small this season because I've had enough of having massive, massive squads. It kind of gets a little bit annoying when you're trying to find players who want to play Champions League games and your squad's just bloody huge. So, we've got ourselves 3 goalkeepers. Number 1 is Vlado Ivle, he's been our number 1 goalkeeper now for 1.5 seasons, probably will be our number 1 goalkeeper for a few more years to come. 24 years of age. He's very good, isn't he? He's just a good goalkeeper. Also, good goalkeepers, and this one is in particular good. Aleksandrs Pahars is a 19-year-old Latvian with 7 caps to his name. Pahars will be getting a lot of football. I'm going to try and play him quite regularly when it comes to league games. He's actually played a Champions League qualifying match as well. Aleksandrs Pahars is the current Latvia number 1. And because we loaned out Luthuli, we've had to bring in Wu Lai Dong, who we signed in January, I think, a few seasons ago. He's going to be our third choice goalkeeper. I've made him available for the under-23s, so he's still going to be getting a lot of football, but Wu is our third choice. On to the right backs, and now I know I mentioned Toussaint Yell's probably going to be a right back. We're going to include him as the centre backs for the moment. Keith O'Brien is our best right back, arguably. 22 years old now, Irish international with 2 goals to his name, which is good to see. 2.5-star current ability, 3-star potential. Technically, I think that's what lets him down. Physically and mentally, I think Keith is a very good player. His deputy is a left back, who's actually training up to be a right back. It is Jack Kershaw, 20-year-old Welsh international, signed from Liverpool a few years ago. He is only left-footed, and we're going to play him as a right back, or a backup right back. He's also going to be a backup to the left back as well, but Jack Kershaw's here. On to the left-back position, Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be our number 1 for the season. He's complaining that he wants to start more games. He's played a lot of football for us. I don't know why he keeps complaining, but Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be our number 1 left-back. And assuming he sticks about, Wagner is going to be our number 2 left-back. He wants to start more games. We're getting a lot of interest in Wagner from teams in Brazil and also teams, I think, in Saudi Arabia. So Wagner might not be sticking around for the full season, but he's still here. On to the central defenders, and Toussaint Yao is the first name to mention. Going to be a right back, but also very, very good as a central defender. As a libero, apparently, he's world class, in my opinion. He's absolutely world class. He's only 21 years of age, still having loads and loads of offers from teams in and around Europe for £50 million, I think Liverpool bid, and I rejected it. And can we give him a new contract? We can give him a new contract. Let's just keep doing this, because I never want to lose him. He's also only getting paid £9,500. Like, that's ridiculous. If I was you, I'd sack your agent. Our number 2 central defender will be Miguel Benavides. Much like Toussaint Yao, has had a lot of interest in the summer. In fact, Liverpool, I think, is still interested in him. So are Arsenal, Manchester United. So Benavides, obviously a very, very good footballer. Trying to keep hold of him. I was expecting to lose either Benavides or Toussaint Yao in the summer. It's not happened. But Benavides he's probably our number 2 centre-back. And we've already mentioned him once, it's David Markovic. He is going to be our number 3 centre-back, who's actually probably going to be our number 2 centre-back because we're going to play Toussaint Yao as a right-back. It's all confusing, it kind of makes sense. We've also got 2 backup options. Chapoval is obviously one of them. Not going to see a huge amount of Mykola in this season, I think, but he's there if we need to play him. And also, Nikita Ruggins is still at the club, obviously signed last season from China, when he spent a random 2 seasons over in China. He's still pretty good. I would like to get him playing football elsewhere in Latvia. It's not going to happen. He will get a fair few games for us this season. On to the central midfielders, and we have to start with Ronnie Ruiz, or Brian Ruiz, as I keep calling him. 21 years of age, soon to be 22. He's just good, isn't he? He's just really good at football. He's really good at football. 4.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential as well, apparently. Feel like he might have a bit more than 4.5-star potential, as he's only 21, but he's just amazing. I think when it comes to attributes, he's probably our best footballer. Maxims Baranovs is also still at the club. He has extended his loan deal for a 5th season. I don't know why PSG bought him, if I'm honest. I don't know why they even bothered, but Baranovs is here for another year. I've tried to sign him. I keep trying to sign him. They don't want to sell him, and when they do want to sell him, he doesn't want to agree a contract with us because he quite happily wants to play for PSG, despite the fact that he hasn't even visited France in 5 years. Also in midfield, we have Ashton Brereton, who spent a season out on loan at Southampton last year. He's returned to the club. He's going to be number 3, I think, in the pecking order. He's just still very good, though, isn't he? 3-star current ability, not going to get any better, apparently. Soon to be 27 years of age, which means he's possibly at his peak right now. I think we've got a very good footballer in Ashton. Slowly moving further and further down the pecking order, Elson Zizi also still here at the club. He's good. He gives us another option. He just gives us another option. He's not gonna set the world alight, but yeah, he's there. He's very, very useful. Similarly is Guy Stefan Ballo, a player who we probably should have let leave the club a couple of years ago when his contract expired, and I extended it because I just like Ballo, okay? He's only played 73 games for us, but for some reason, he's got this weird special place in my heart because I think he was probably one of our first real good signings for the club, and I don't want to lose him. But Ballo is here. He's probably not going to play a huge amount of football, particularly on camera. Might get a lot of games, though, playing in the league. And finally, Arturs Rasevskis is our last central midfielder to talk about, and he is a young Latvian with 6 goals and 13 caps apparently. He spent a season out on loan at Riga last year, playing 30 games, scoring 4 goals apparently in the league. I think he's good. I just don't think he's good enough to get in our side, but he's here, he can come off the bench, he's probably going to get a lot of league games similar to Ballo. Yeah, Rasevskis is alright. On to the wingers, and we'll start on the right-hand side with Max Cohen, who's had interest in the summer from Liverpool, and I didn't want to sell him. I don't want to sell him. He's a bit annoyed that we didn't sell him, but he is obviously going to be our number 1 right winger. Since we signed him a couple of seasons ago, I think Max Cohen he's been one of those few players that's been a bit of a game changer. Him and Brian Sanchez. His backup is going to be Gianpaolo Impagliazzo, who is not a right winger, but he will be a right winger. He's also 2-footed. So basically, if we just do this is the role that he's going to play. Yes, he can't shoot and he can't have long shots, but he's going to be a backup. He's a 2-footed winger, still pretty young as well. Impagliazzo, I don't really know too much about him because he plays a fair amount, but they're normally league games, which doesn't really show us too much. On to the left-hand side, we have 3 left wingers. Brian Sanchez is the main one. Probably my favourite player. I feel like I've said this about 3 other players in the team, but Brian Sanchez, since we signed him, like I said, with Max Cohen, Sanchez has been just unbelievable for us. He's been absolutely ridiculous, in particular when it comes to Europe. In the league, he's been okay, 14 goals and 29 appearances apparently, but yeah, when it comes to Champions League, that is where Brian comes alive. We've also got Fabio De Santis, who we signed last summer on a free transfer, who can now play as an inside forward on that left-hand side. So he is trained up, he can do the job now, and I think he's actually pretty good. He just needs to get some game time now. And finally, Lee Jong-pil as well, who we signed from Chelsea in January. I think it was in January. He's probably not going to play a huge amount of football, but he's here. It's useful to have quite a lot of options on that left-hand side. And finally, moving on to the strikers, 5 of them in total. Ali Al-Makani is the first one. He is probably our 5th choice striker now, but he can obviously play on that right-hand side if we need him. Al-Makani, he's good, isn't he? He's just good. He's scored, what is that, 24 plus 23. That is 47 goals in 2 seasons at the moment playing for the club. That's not 2 seasons, Stuart. That's a lot more than 2 seasons. 4 seasons. He scored a lot of goals then, not played a huge amount of football since. In a similar vein to Ali Al-Makani, Ismail Silva is another player who is probably not going to play a huge amount of football, but he will get the odd game here or there. When I ask the assistant to pick the squad, they pick Silva ahead of Geraldo, which I don't agree with at all. I don't know why they seem to do it, which is why you can see he's already played 3 games and scored got a couple of assists. I don't know why they're picking Ismail Silva. I need to make sure that doesn't happen. He's very good. He's definitely very good. I've tried to loan him out as well. I did actually have Riga come in and say, we'll take him on loan, and he refused to go. That would have been a great signing for Riga. Sergej Lemkins is also still at the club, but he looks like he's starting to decline. I want to try and get rid of Lemkins to another team in Latvia. It's not going to happen. He's probably going to end up playing in Germany or Italy or something like that. But Lemkins is a very useful player to have because he can play as a striker and a central midfielder, and he's actually pretty good at both. So this is why I'm kind of keeping Lemkins around. He's a very good option to bring off the bench. Very good option for league games as well. One of our most expensive signings is Artur Thomas, and he's going to have an absolutely breakout season this year. Signed in January last season for probably too much money because he was out of contract in the summer, but I wanted him in, and he scored 13 goals and 19 appearances, including a hat-trick against his former employee Barcelona in the Champions League. So I'm starting to think Thomas was a very good bit of investment. This season, I think Thomas might score roughly 70 league goals. That's my guess. Still not going to be as much as Geraldo managed to score in one season, which was 98. But Geraldo is probably, I would say, our best striker. I don't think he is our best striker, but he just knows how to score goals. I think his 16 composure and 16 finishing just means that he can find the back of the net all the time for the most part. So yeah, Geraldo is probably our leading threat up front, but Artur Thomas also is going to hopefully score a hell of a lot of goals as well. So that is it for the squad. I think it's a trimmed down squad. I don't like the fact that we've only got 5 Latvians, and probably one of them, which is Maxims Baranovs, is going to be a regular starter, but we are where we are. According to my staff in the youth team as well, 2 players are somewhat standouts. Milhem, who he has been getting quite regular football, he's not great, is he? I don't know what my staff see in him, but he's not particularly great. I guess Technically, he's got some numbers in good places. Passing technique is also pretty good. Mentally, he's okay. Work rate and teamwork is good. Physically, he's actually pretty decent. So maybe that's what they're basing everything on. But yeah, Milhem, apparently, one of my breakout stars. And also Dimitris Gudamanis, who arguably I should put in the first team. He's spent a season out on loan at Riga last year. 18 games in the league, 2 goals as well to his name. Gudamanis is pretty good. I just don't think he's ever going to get into the first team properly. And just for interest as well, let's take a look at Mazurs, who came in our youth intake in the last season. I think Mazurs is going to be very useful for us. Maybe not for us, because what I'm planning on doing after season 15 is I'm going to holiday for 10 years into the future and just see what happens with the Skinnz Academy and with Latvia in general. And I think Mazurs will be getting a lot of Latvia caps. And because obviously we're on the rundown to FM22, we're already at the Champions League group stage. And when you think of the group that we had last season with PSG, Manchester United, and I think it was Benfica, wasn't it? This group here, we have to win this group, surely. We can beat Ajax, we can beat Reims, we know we can beat Benfica, we've beaten them twice in the past. So, this is a very, very good group for us. I don't think we're going to get 6 wins out of 6, but we could. And let's just have a very quick look at the coefficients as well. Currently sat in 12th place. We've already got a 2.875, so we only need to get 3 more points to increase on what we are losing, which actually is pretty good considering the Champions League group that we've got. I think to get 3 points, we need to win 3 games. I think that is how it works. It's literally 1 point per game, something stupid like that. So hopefully we should be able to do that with relative ease, which means we're going to at least stay exactly where we are. Hopefully, I think we do need to have a massive swing if we want to climb up, but hopefully we can climb up a little bit further, but everything is resting on the shoulders of the Skinnz Football Academy. And in case you missed it in the last season, next season we have 2 teams qualifying for the Champions League, 1 qualifying for the Europa League playoff, and 2 teams qualifying for the Europa League 2 qualifying rounds. We are slowly but surely climbing Latvia up these little tables. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen before FM22. Something else that has been slowly happening in the background is, Latvia as a nation have climbed from 126th back in November 2023 to 87th in the world rankings. I am constantly trying to take the job from Vuriel Frunza, maybe, could be his name, but he basically, what happens is he plays games and loses to Greece, and loses to Sweden, and then he puts 6 past Azerbaijan. So he kind of climbs up in the list of he might lose his job, and then he'll just win a game 10-2 against Andorra. So it's very difficult. See what I mean? He'll lose to Bulgaria, beat North Macedonia 5-0. I can't get him out of the job. I've been trying since about here, and he just will not leave his job. He's literally been threatened with the sack a few times as well, and he's still here. A couple of other things that I want to mention very quickly. Geraldo, we know he loves to score goals. What you don't know about Geraldo is he's technically Europe's top goal scorer for the last 2 years. And I don't mean just he scored the most goals. He's won the European Golden Shoe 3 years in a row. He's won it 3 years in a row, playing for the Skinnz Football Academy. And in order to do that, he's had to score double the amount of goals as other players, because basically we're apparently a second-rate nation, which means you have to get more goals to get more points and stuff like that. So obviously, one season he scored 43, 60 that season, and then also 37 last year in just 24 appearances. Now, some of you eagle-eyed people might have noticed, second place last season was Daniels Sazanovs, who plays for Lepaja and is 18 years old. He came second in the European Golden Shoe Award. I don't want to sign him, because I feel like he'll get more game time playing for Lepaja, but that's just nuts to me. Also, while we're talking about Geraldo, he's now a legend. He is now a legend of the club, which is no surprise to me at all. Icons, Abdul Samad, Stefan Huggins, Max Cohen's up there as an icon, so is Benavides, Maris Mikolov also up there as an icon, favoured personnel, Lemkins, Wagner, Nene B, Ronnie Ruiz, Ivan Stipniks, it's Toussaint Yao, Maxims Baranovs, and Taihi, who, by the way, Taihi's gone out on loan to Galatasaray, because I just wanted to get him some game time. He's not really played a lot for us over the last, 3 years, so he's gone to Turkey, going to get a season under his belt, and he'll come back, probably a better footballer, maybe? That is going to do it for episode 0. Episode 1, which will hopefully be out tomorrow, will be the 3 Champions League group stage games. Ajax, Reims, and then Benfica to finish it off. And I'm hoping we can win all 6 games, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you did enjoy, do please remember to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and I'll be back with episode 1 of season 14.